How was your day going so far?
A lot of pictures.
A lot of pictures just now, right? Well, you get a lot of fans, as you can see. They're showing up for you everywhere. We're really proud to have you in Germany.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah.
Danke. Well, I really don't think that during the post-production, I mean, you know, you go in, you think the best. And then I think during post-production, I was really not sure because it was testing and it wasn't testing well. And we kept going back and revoicing and doing things, and then suddenly it started testing well. And then bang, it was a hit. I guess, well, I think the most fun I had voicing was when Jennifer Tilly started coming, because before that I'd been like working alone. I would just be in a room by myself and I would do the whole movie first. And it was kind of lonely. And then suddenly there was Jennifer, and I was working with somebody, and it really changed everything.
Yeah.
My favorite movie is, well, you know, I kind of am partial to Curse because of Fiona, my daughter. But I think the one that I enjoyed the most was Bride.
Okay.
I thought it was a hoot. I just thought it was just a fun and kind of perfect movie in its way.
Yeah.
Well, I like anime a lot. I don't. As far as I mean, I don't see horror because it scares me. I was always the kid that ran out of this theater, you know, or I jumped under the seat, or I just really couldn't handle it. And I still am a bit that way. I mean, it scares me. But you know, I like doing it. It's kind of creepy and fun when you're doing it, and it's not so scary, really.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, you don't just work with Peter Jackson. Fran, Peter's wife, also directs. Peter is more into camera than Fran is. When you talk to Fran, it's really about, she's a writer, so she really likes to go into character a lot more than he does. And she's a tougher critic of your performances than he is. But he's way better with the camera. And it's really about the shot. So it was just trying to please both of them was the trick. Well, Christopher well, there's two Christophers. There's the one that you know is when you're acting, and that was just great. I mean, you know, he was like, you know, but I've worked with a lot of really good actors, and you know, but as a human being, he, you know, when you're doing interviews with him, and you're just Brad from West Virginia, and you're doing foreign press, and he greets everybody in their language, and you know, he becomes far more impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a guy who won World War II. I mean, he really is an extraordinary guy. Okay, two different things. First, First, as as an actor, I think you should do a lot of theater. Theater teaches you rhythm of a performance. Your tendency when you do a movie is to, because you're only doing one little piece at a time, is to really, kill every single moment. And that's not what you should do. There's a kind of a rhythm. Things should be thrown away. Things should be quiet, and then things need to be strong. You need to really punch certain things home and let things go. Some things should be funny, some things should be light. It should all be different throughout the performance. The best place to learn that is in theater. So I would say to any actor starting out is do as much theater as you can, even if you just want to do film. As a director, you really need to write. You need to act. You need to be very comfortable in the world of acting. You need to know how to talk to an actor. You need to know what it feels like to be an actor. And then you need to really know how to shoot. So a director has to wear all the hats. And remember that the poet is the camera. But for Gollum, I liked, when I read the books, Wormtongue the most. Because he had a kind of, he was a soul who was crushed, very badly crushed. I kind of saw him, this is a conversation I had with Fran, and we kind of came up with this together, that here was a guy who was always ugly, who was smart, who learned very much ahead of time, was savvy about people, learned very much ahead of time how to avoid being picked on. And that knowledge of people made him an excellent advisor. He could predict what people were going to do, which is absolutely what a king needs. And then he was sort of a part of that family, but not. So here was something, he was always surrounded by something he could never have. And then Sauron used that, and down a dark hole he goes. And it's a kind of a sad thing, but you get it when you read the books, and that's what I was trying to go for. And I thought that made him very interesting to me. Well, first of all, the difference between being in small movies and God knows, I have done so many small movies, it's ridiculous. Down to, movies shot by college students with no budget at all. I did a movie with Werner Herzog, and we had sausage and a piece of bread for lunch, and one cameraman, and Werner mixed sound, and my girlfriend stopped traffic. And that's how we made the movie, in one day. I like small movies because you know everybody very well. You feel very much connected to other people. The crew is smaller and so forth. In big films, a lot, egos get much bigger. Departments become much more separated from each other. You can feel very small in them. But I have to say, for Lord of the Rings, it was the biggest small movie I ever made, in the fact that we were all there for such a long time that everybody kind of got to know each other, and it was much more like a family than a normal huge shoot. And God knows it was a huge shoot. I think it was the scene that I did with with Miranda Otta. Simply because it required such a strong connection between me. One of the things I like about acting is that it forces you really to connect to people very powerfully, you feel like you know people extremely well by the time you finish, and that was very strong. There was wind, just to show you Miranda's concentration. There was a metal roof, and wind was coming, and it was rattling, and it sounded like we were doing Lear in there at times. And they didn't care because they dubbed everything. But Miranda doesn't remember that at all, which I find amazing. That's how concentrated she was and focused on the scene. Something got printed somewhere that they were thinking of reviving Deadwood. Where that information came from and what those people know, I don't know anything about that. No, as far as I go, nobody has contacted me, from anywhere having to do with HBO to do anything with it. I would be obviously delighted if they did, but I just don't know anything. Cuckoo's Nest was my really first big movie, and we all came and we went upstairs. We shot it in a real insane asylum, and they would take us to individually. Each one of us was taken into maximum security, and we just sat there for the day talking to inmates who were, thank God, heavily drugged. And you were talking to people who had killed people who had burned down a lot of buildings, people who really thought that as soon as they got out, they were going to be Prime Minister of Peru. Really that level. And they all seemed incredibly normal to me. And that took a lot of pressure off. So once we began shooting, I felt very relaxed. And I felt like everybody around me also was very relaxed. Nicholson is a genius at working with people, and probably of the great stars of his era, and maybe of any era, he's the most generous actor. So, his main objective when he was off camera was to get you to crack up, to start laughing. And he got a kick out of everybody. So there was this great feeling on the set and it felt very real, and that was a wonderful experience. Heaven's Gate was in the height of the cocaine era. It was in the height of a tremendous waste of money. We showed up. I expected to shoot 5 weeks. I was there for 4 months. It went massively over budget. people met people and got married, started families. I mean, it was just, and it was great. I loved it. The final movie, I think the review for Cuckoo's Nest was raves. The review for Heaven's Gate was from Vincent Canby. It was like being given a 4-hour tour of your own living room. That was the, so it was, one was a wild success, and the other one was probably the most famous flop in film history. It destroyed United Artists. The whole studio went under because of that movie. So, big difference. Both a barrel, a lot of fun.
All right. I know this was such an interesting talk. We have to continue the other panels, but you're here all day and tomorrow on your booth, and people can come by and chat with you, right? Yes. So come say hi to Mr. Dourif and give a big round of applause, please.